Hi there. Welcome back to the Culture and Connections show. So, at 48 Days, we love to research, interview, learn, and create trainings and resources for business leaders and also for small business owners to be able to create the company culture that your team brags about. Today, we're diving into customer service, which I am super excited about. And we are calling this that customer service can make it or break it. So, guys, make sure you get your notepads, grab yourself a cup of coffee. I'll be right back to introduce my guest today, and you are not going to want to miss this conversation. So, please stay tuned. All right. For those of you who have joined us before, you may have noticed we've made a few changes around here, including our introduction video, which, yay, so exciting because we have so many great things coming your way. Today, I get to introduce to you our Chief Inspiration Officer at 48 Days, also our head relationship coach in the 48 Days. She is an disc expert. She's been working in it for 20 plus years, guys. Like, pretty much since she was like a kid. If you do the math, she was a kid. And the reason I've asked her to come on and talk about this topic is because it is just so important. I'm not going to go any further with this. I'm going to bring her right on. You guys, please make sure you grab your notebooks, share this with somebody who needs it, and then make sure you connect with us. And so without further ado, I bring to you Ashley Logsdon. Yay!
I feel like I should have some theme music going here.
Right? True. Yes. Awesome. Well, Ashley, thank you so much for joining us again. These interviews are pretty much a highlight for me. We'll just say that. And this week, our topic is a little more in depth. Like, we are diving into some real stuff here. Customer service, as we all know, especially these days, can really make or break your company. Like, how that trickles down from culture, from the leadership, all the way down to the person who is taking your order or answering the phone call on the other end is huge. So we're going to, of course, go and dive into DISC and the different personalities. But can you share with us, Ashley, like when I shared this topic with you, what kind of came to your mind on this?
I think that we oftentimes tend to spend so much time focusing on who we're serving that we forget the people that are there to serve them. And they are the best representation. Every person in your company is representing your company in some way. And we oftentimes, tend to downplay and slough off the admin and the basic customer service and those sorts of things as not really being the main part or the big decision making for the company, whereas they're the eyes and the ears. They're the ones that know all of the little intricacies of what's going on. And when they are burned out, they're the ones reflecting that to your company or to your audience. And so we have seen this with the Great Resignation. We have seen this with people quiet quitting, all of these things that they are doing where they're moving away from places where they don't feel seen and heard. And so this is critical that we look at everybody who is working in your business and how are we first and foremost acknowledging them before they're willing to go out and work for us, for our company. And so, yeah, I think that there's just been a little bit of a disconnect of, well, I'm paying you, so you need to do it. Well, there's more to life than just a money exchange, and people are looking for emotional connection, not just a financial exchange, especially post 2020. And there are a lot of people that recognize there are so many ways to make money. We can do it in a lot of virtual ways as well. And so it's not about just making the money, but it's about feeling seen and heard and having purpose in this life. And so the more that we can do that with our existing team, the more we are going to have that energy kind of emit out, and we're going to have that enthusiasm sells. And so what we want to do is we want to have our team be that enthusiastic and that on board and feel that much a part of what it is that they're selling, because they're going to sell it better. They're going to serve your customers better.
Yeah, I love that. And so today we're actually starting from the top all the way down to how this trickles down. So let's start with, and we have some great examples of this. We have so many people that we've worked with or near or whatever that we've seen this in. And so I'm super excited about this topic. So let's start with the top. Like, what is your company's personality? Let's talk about that. We have definitely seen this, and this tends to be, I think, where your social media is, where you're talking to your audience and all of that. So can you talk about company personality?
Yes. So you definitely can have different personalities. And so like an example of company personality that I've used a lot and that I see, Keller Williams is a high D company personality. And Keller Williams has more than just selling houses. They're training coaches. They have a whole process on what they do, and it is very bottom line, results oriented. High D's oftentimes thrive in the Keller Williams culture. And sometimes the S's really struggle because it becomes about the numbers and some of the bottom line, and it's stressful. My husband being one of these. I mean, he, as an SI personality coming into a high D workforce and having a high D boss, because he worked on a team, and the woman who runs the company is a high D woman. Now, thankfully, she married her version of Nathan, and Nathan married me, and so they had a lot of being able to work well together, which was great. But the whole culture there is tends to be kind of fast paced and results oriented, bottom line, and very goal oriented and goal focused. That kind of is a D atmosphere. Doesn't mean others can't be in it, but when you recognize that that's the atmosphere, you recognize that that hat is probably going to get you more traction moving forward. So you start to learn how to speak in that, even if you're not a D. And so Nathan learned a lot of different things with being assertive, or when he needed to move fast versus when he didn't. And so he kind of had to learn that process as he got into the team and realized what hat they were living in. And so I think that's what we mean. You're going to have a variety of personalities in every group or in every company that you work with, but you create a culture, and it tends to be by the majority personality style. So you may have your IT arena, and you've got a majority C personality style. You've got to have the DI and the S there too, but you may have a very C focused one, which means that your company culture is going to move maybe at a slower pace than that D culture that I was talking about, and they may get more stuck in one thing, and change is hard for their group, and they just recognize that. They recognize innovation is needed, change is difficult, so let's do our work and prepare so we can make it happen, because it's going to happen anyway. So just understanding those helps you to just learn how to navigate it better.
Yeah. And I think, the questions we're going through today are so connected. It's really difficult to talk about one without the other.
Right.
For sure. But I think, to your point, I mean, I even think about like a high I company, such as I think of the Savannah Bananas as a very high I. Yet I interviewed their fans first director, and she is definitely not a high I, but that's fitting, right? Because she's going to help get things done.
Right.
So I love that. All right. So when we're looking at company culture, so looking at your company's personality, we're going to trickle that down. So let's talk about, does your company's personality always match up with your audience's personality and your ideal client? So could you talk to that?
Oh boy, can I ever, especially when it comes to 48 days. This is something that we've had a lot of discussions. My father and I have had a lot of discussions, because we've recognized that some of the things that we offer, the reality is the people with our personality styles, they most likely won't jump on it. because sometimes there's a high D, take action approach oftentimes is not a good team player. So joining a membership community it may not be on their radar. It may not be something that really interests them. We believe in the 48 Days Eagles community as an online membership community that we offer, and we have it for people who are eager to activate their dream. We want to spend time helping to move them into their next steps and learn those next steps. Um, that's going to be people of all different walks of life. And that's going to be people who are insecure in where they are, who are slower to move, who are just looking for that one simple step that if I were just to work with the high Ds, we would lose the majority of our audience. And there would be very, very few, because a lot of those high Ds are going to say, we don't need you. I don't need you. I can do this on my own. So it is really important to think about what is it that you're trying to, what message do you have to share, and who is there to hear it? How can you serve them best? We learned the best way to serve our audience is to learn to speak their language. And so I talk about DISC being the language of empathy, and recognizing that when we send out a marketing email, I want to make sure that I'm getting the majority of the population. And I know a good majority of our own audience, and that's 69% of the population being that S personality style. So even though I don't have S, and my father, the founder of the company, doesn't have S personality style at all, we serve S people, a lot of them. We can serve, all the different personality styles, but we recognize we have a lot of S people. And so it's helped us to learn what are the key things to craft in our message. Where when I am dealing with one personality style, we may be talking about, pulling back on your aggression. I may be looking at on the opposite side here, it's okay to sell yourself. It's okay to be assertive and to believe in yourself and to sell what it is that you have to offer. So understanding the audience that you're wanting to work with is very, very valuable and can be very different from your own personality style. And if you recognize that, and DISC, like you do from watching these videos, and what those motivators are and what those triggers are, then you're able to use those in your marketing strategies and in your sales strategies, and understanding how you can speak the language that really hits the pain points and motivates them in a way that speaks well to your audience.
Yeah. And that's, as much as it is an important to know your own company's personality, I think recognizing your audience's personality is so key. And I think we're seeing that so much post-COVID, right? Like you go into a store and, you've got a lot of disgruntled employees, and you make a customer service call and they're not very excited to answer your phone call, and part of that, of course, is, the other issues that we'll talk about. But also, I think sometimes it's just knowing, like, do your systems and processes meet your audience? Is your audience a high tech? Are they low tech? Are they, like you said, 69% steady and stable, or do they not like change? So you're making all these changes. Knowing all of that, I think, is just so vital.
Yes, for sure.
All right. So I kind of feel like we hit on this a little bit with what you were saying, but I still think it's a worthy question to ask. How important is it to know what problem you are solving for your audience?
Oh, yes. Very much so. If you don't, you're just kind of shooting in the dark there. Being able to be clear on what you can, what you have, that kind of goes into just what our sales process is. And our selling style, the selling process that we use at 48 Days is the 40-30-20-10 model. So 40% of the sales process is building up trust and rapport, and our high eyes thrive in this arena and can really do a great job of getting to know people. Your 30% is identifying the need, and that right there is where our S's tend to thrive, and that right there is so critical for us in order for anything to go on. I know I personally have been annoyed and offended at times where somebody has come to me with the assumption that they know exactly what I need, yet they never asked me a single question. And you need this, you should, any needing, shoulding on somebody else. Think about if you've earned the right to say that to them. And earning the right means asking the questions first, so that then you can say, oh, well, you're having issues with getting that first interview. Well, maybe, okay, if you're not even getting in for an interview, maybe we've got resumes as an issue. So now I know what to zone in on. Whereas if we've not had a conversation, I may say, oh, well, you just need to go get out there more or whatever. And that's not the issue. So identifying that pain point is big. And then if you go with the 40-30-20-10 model, then the 40 is the identifying need, 40 is trust and rapport, 30 is identifying need, 20 is product knowledge, and that's where our C's will thrive as well. And the product knowledge on how well do you know your stuff. So now I know you, I've asked enough about you, and I've earned the right to educate you now a little bit on what it is that I can offer and what my solution is based on me getting to know you. Then 10% is really easy because you've created a relationship there. You have earned the right to ask at that point. And so when you can learn what the needs are and what the specific pain points, and again, that goes back to how valuable your customer service is in your company. Your customer service is one of the most valuable ones. How many people have seen reviews online about the horrible customer service scenarios? I mean, you get when people are angry about customer service, you see it a lot. We don't hear as much about the awesome ones, except for a few companies that is their main focus, and they really do thrive in that arena.
I think that's so good. I think about, multiple companies that I've dealt with or worked with or whatever, or just seen, like you said, reviews. And I think there's pain points in each of those processes, the rapport, the need, the
Yes.
and so your customer service, if you're properly equipping them with the information and the way, systems and processes to put that in place, they're going to be able to help with those, all of those stages, every single one of them. Awesome. So I feel like we probably, maybe we can let our S&Cs shine for a minute, because I think we can talk a little bit to, are your something to evaluate. And now you've got your company personality, your audience's personality, what need you're filling. Do your processes and systems support those goals?
Yes.
And how are you equipping your team to be able to help those happen?
Yes. So I pulled, and I'll share two things here, and I pulled them from AI. So I'll give credit here for what I did, and I pulled customer service, some ways to empower our customer service team. And so I have these ones are regardless of personality style. And then I have some specific ones based on the personality style that you're working with. And so it can kind of help for addressing this. First off is just, how do we want to empower our team in general? Well, we want to look at, and this is, I'll get the systems in here because it's part of it. Give them the tools and resources they need to do their job well. So that includes providing them with training, access to information, and the necessary technology. Oh my goodness, I have had so many situations like that. Even down to parents with kids, where all of a sudden, I had a scenario. Well, let me use a business scenario, not a kid scenario here. But time management is a huge issue. Mariah, I think you can attest to what you have learned in the past little bit working with a colleague to really get streamlined, and how much of a difference. Do you feel like you have worked more effectively since then?
Oh, yes. Comparison night and day. Oh, yeah.
And sometimes we don't give the systems and the routines and the things like that. When I first started doing live events, I was very overwhelmed. I knew there were so many logistics. And I happened to have a best friend who happened to be running live events for Dave Ramsey right at that time. And she had a whole system. She had spreadsheets for tracking everything. She had so much stuff. And she gave me the mother load. I mean, she gave me all of this stuff to get started, and it helped me to learn how to streamline it so that we got to the point where when I was putting on a live event, I didn't really have to do much until about the week before. And just kind of check my boxes as I went, and it went so smoothly. And it was because I had been equipped on the front end. And so taking that time, and I mean, you spend the time on the stuff that you want, that you have a high expectation on what it's going to deliver. If you have an expectation and an agenda for what it's going to be like, then have you done your hard work to share that and to convey that? Unspoken expectations lead to resentment, a lot of resentment. And so look for those ways to look for what systems you can put in place, and what things to help with scheduling and with systems that will fix that. Yeah.
And I would add to that too. I think if you can walk through your mind, like a mentor would be great, but even if you can walk through your mind the purchasing process of your customer and client, and look at what might be a pain point, what might be a friction point, as they say in Fans First. What are some areas that you can look ahead a little? I mean, we can't see everything, right? But a little bit of planning could possibly save your team a little bit of pain and frustrate the customers.
And that's where you can also pull those ones in your team who might have this as a better skill set. So what systems can they come up with? Maybe you're asking the support and help of them in order to do it. But yeah, you need to work on, so you want to give them tools and resources to do their job well. Once you do that, and once you have been very clear on what is expected of them and what they can do to do it, or how they need to do it, then trust them to make the decisions and take action. Don't micromanage them or second guess their decisions, because the other part of that is we have to build some confidence in our people. I know that I'm going to have a way more effective person I know that I'm going to get way more stuff accomplished with somebody who's confident in their job than somebody who's checking, I don't know, is this okay? Is this okay? And constantly checking in. So I want to empower them by giving them the support to say, I'm not going to micromanage you. And I've given you the deal. For me as a high D, and oftentimes you'll have leaders that are more either D or what we call a fake D, so an ISC combo. And for, my approach may be, I'm going to say, okay, here are these systems. This is the bottom line. This is what I want. I want it to look like this. If you have another way of making it work, great. And that's how I, as a D, am going to clearly convey and give them the bottom line of this is what I want to see. And then I give them permission to say, if you can find out a better method to make it work for you, better system or anything else, go for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So good. Yeah. I love that. So you said you had a list from AI for, so that was the first one. We went a little far on that one, but it is so important. I mean, really.
So that was the first two. So go tools and resources, trust them to make decisions, take action, give them regular feedback and praise. I know that is something that it doesn't naturally come to me. I'm not naturally thinking of all the times to say, hey, great work, good job. It means so much. We volunteer with the state parks, and we were just at a state park, and the manager made it a point every day. He'd go around and just tell people how much he appreciated them. And I remember him walking to the nature center. He goes, I just came in. I just had to ask you, has anybody told you what a great job you're doing today and how much I appreciate you being here? I'm like, I mean, and I have to say that state park, hands down, the happiest group or happiest team I've ever seen at the parks. There's a lot of disgruntled people that work in the different government jobs and different state types of jobs. And you can have a horrible attitude. There can be a lot of drama that can happen, or it can be an amazing experience. And I think so much of it has to do with how much we support and encourage one another and how we clearly convey what it is we need. When it's not spoken, whether that's what you expect or what you appreciate, it can cause confusion, it can cause resentment and distance. And it's a lot easier to have a bad attitude about something that is distant. There's that saying of keep your enemies closer. There's truth in that. Like, you want to be very close with who you have working with you, because they are a representation of your company. And the truth is, what they bring from home, that then they bring and they carry that weight, that also impacts. And so it's not even just you care about these people just at work, but recognize that they are more than their work, and every part of who they are is going to also have some impact for what they are doing there. So care. And the more you care, the more they will care about that business that they are choosing to be a part of. You want to celebrate their successes and create a positive and supportive work environment. So making sure that you not only are giving them feedback, but you're showing them that you value and appreciate what they are doing. And the more that you have that ability to check in, the better.
Mm-hmm. I love that. One thing Marie Matzinger mentioned that they do a lot in Savannah Bananas is they do actually leave it open for their people to come and, they do a check-in. They do a weekly check-in.
Yes.
But they also allow for just impromptu check-ins like, hey, I've got this going on. And they not only listen, but they plan how they can put it into action if they can, or they say we can't at this time, but let's look at it, or give, opportunities for other solutions too. I just thought that was so good.
Yeah. Yes. Meetings can get poo-pooed a lot, yet meetings are what keep you connected. And meetings do allow for those things to come out. When you go for too long with everybody doing virtual things and doing their own jam and no meeting to connect everybody, it can be easy to become very disjointed. So yeah, you want to look for ways to come together to remember you're all working on the same team. I use this when it comes to families. I use it when it comes to businesses. You're on the same team. You may have different roles, but the more you understand and appreciate how the feet move the body and the hands feed the face, the better the whole body's going to function.
Yeah. So good. I love that. Okay. Any other tips that you have from that list?
I've got my quick punch list of each one. So for C styles, give them challenging work that requires attention to detail. I oftentimes am asking my C personality styles to do research. Can you research this for me? Can you look into this for me? And they come back with great information and insights, and are able to get those little details. S types, provide them with clear procedures and guidelines and give them the opportunity to learn and grow. And so again, giving some support of, I have faith in you. It's okay. Figure this one out. And being very clear and then giving them some space is really helpful. For I types, you give them opportunities to interact with customers and build relationships. For your I's, you want to make sure you are giving them opportunities to really be able to interact with others. That's something that we recognized when my husband came over he worked with 48 Days for a little while. And at that point, we didn't have a team. We had Dad and I both were perfectly fine working in our little zones. And, don't speak to me. I got to get work done. And he really got lonely. So I missed the the water talks, the water cooler talks. And so when he went into real estate, he specifically chose to go with a team versus be on his own because he recognized how valuable that was for him, and he enjoyed that. So look for your high I's, look for those opportunities for connection. You will see them, lose their luster and lose the zest and the light in their energy if they don't have a way to recharge that. And Mariah, I know you can attest to this a ton, and you love the phone calls for that reason.
Yep.
Yeah.
True.
And then D, give them challenging work that requires them to use their problem solving skills. I also throw D's on the high pressure ones. So, hey, this needs to happen today. Anything that's a high pressure, that's a complicated one, something where the real focus is whatever that bottom line result is, and a challenge is something that D's oftentimes love to tackle. So if we can motivate our people in those ways, looking for, where we can ask for help. When we ask others for their help, we give them the beautiful gift of feeling needed. And we also are giving them the gift of confidence in them, of I trust that you can do this. And oftentimes, in these scenarios, maybe I trust you can do this a whole lot better than I can.
Right.
And so when we can hand things over to them in something that is in their sweet spot, that's how we move from the company culture is all high D or high C or whatever to, okay, even if the culture is this is a sweet spot where you come alive, and then you can present it because you've been recharged by your sweet spot.
So good. And in your saying that, like with the different personalities, I think I had it in my mind originally that only SCs would be like really great at customer service. But as you're saying that, I'm like, actually, no, I can see how all of them would be
Mm-hmm.
really important. You got your SCs probably for kind of your systems and processes and relational. But then, yeah, your eyes are going to be the ones that can call and probably turn around a customer that's not very happy about something and help them
Yeah.
like figure it out. And then your Ds are that escalation, like, hey, we need help with this person. They just
Yeah.
cannot figure it out.
Yeah.
Or conflict or whatever. So, huh.
Well, yeah, I mean, here I am a DI, and customer service is an opportunity for a new challenge every few minutes, or whatever, whatever it is, every phone call, every email,
Right.
or whatever. It's a new challenge that can take me somewhere different, somewhere exciting. I might go down this bunny trail because I need to fix this issue or help this person with that. And I did customer service for a long time. So yeah, so it's not pigeonholed to one specific type of personality style at all. And the more that we can learn what will motivate and recharge us, the more we will stick with it and enjoy that process too.
And I think to your, to what you're saying, I mean, my mind is completely flipped now. That was like a big epiphany for me during this
Oh,
interview. I think if you can know who your team and what their strengths are within your customer service, and you could allow them to do those things within what their strengths of customer service is, wow, that could be
uh-huh.
amazing.
Oh yeah. I mean, is it an awful thing to say, okay, we've got this team here, and Susie does really well with the angry customers, and Joyce over here is great for the ones that are so tech challenged that they're really really stuck, and this person's sweet, and you start to identify who can handle which people best, and then you have them recharged as well, because I understand that for me, as that high D personality style and wanting to move really fast, and when I had a basic question of they didn't know what a URL was, I'm like, moving on, and that was not a good fit for me. That's that. So then I'm not going to answer as well as somebody who says, oh yeah, let me walk you through this.
Mm-hmm.
So when you can get people who are energized by what interactions they're having, that's even better. And if you don't have somebody on your team who's really energized by handling all the angry customers, because I know that can really wear on you,
Yeah.
balance it out. Look at how you can handle it. Okay, so maybe this person is best with the really difficult customers, but also does this other thing that's really gratifying and lightweight that helps to
Mm-hmm.
even that out or balance that out a little bit.
Yeah, I love that. And then your others that are like, I do not want to touch the phone. Let
Right,
me do emails and chat.
right. Well, and those things are, I also feel a lot of times those things tend to, the more we gain confidence, the more we're willing to stretch our wings and grow a bit. And we've
Mhm.
seen that in our company with 48 days, where we've hired people for one thing and then they end up shifting into other things that are better fits for their role. And in that scenario, sometimes I have I have a I not an expectation, but I kind of, I've written that it's going to look in one way, and then I've been surprised. For example, who started out with customer service for us ages ago, ended up moving, and she ended up moving from customer service into doing marketing, and I never would have put her in front of a video. Um, at all, knowing her personality style and everything else. Yet her excitement in our company and her confidence level that has grown so much in what she has done, now she doesn't hesitate to pick up doing announcements or leading our Eagles Nest groups, where she's leading small groups on marketing calls. And she's really blown me away on what she has done. And so that's a good point to add too, is that I'm not saying pigeonhole your people. into their roles. And when I say for S styles, provide them with clear procedures and guidance, give them the opportunity to learn and grow. I think that is key for all of these. Give them the opportunity to learn and grow, because when people are working in their sweet spot, they're more likely to expand. They're more likely to surprise you and to push beyond their comfort zone, and you get to see more of what they can do. And so when you allow that first little comfort zone, it actually creates a broader, it's less pigeonholy ultimately, because you're going to see them be more willing to branch out. And if you have created that great relationship, they have the freedom to share those ideas with you, and it may take you to something completely different. I mean, we brainstorm and do all kinds of amazing ideas with Sheila now, from where she started at customer service and the insights that she gained in her sweet spot that took her way beyond that.
I love that. Oh, so good. Well, we're going to wrap it up. I would love to know if you have any final thoughts for today's topic.
My tagline for my own personal podcast, and that is simply, when it comes to this, you are looking for company synergy. And the way you do that is by recognizing how the uniqueness in each of us strengthens all of us. And this is a great way to see what is unique in individuals. And from that, it creates a synergy and a momentum where you can grow as a group and as individuals together.
I love that. Yes. So thank you so much, Ashley, for joining us today. This was an excellent interview. I got epiphanies during it myself. I hope you guys did as well. And, make sure that you are checking out what we're doing at 48 Days. We not only have our culture and connection side of our team, but we also have our dream activating. And to that point, we actually have a webinar coming up on the 21st, I believe.
Yes.
2 webinars.
Yes, there are Hold Fast to Dreams webinars, and they're going to be at 2 and at 7 Central. And then this next one coming up is on the 21st. And this is a free webinar. It is a great, we've been calling it a masterclass. And I think sometimes we've got issues with semantics as far as the many things that we can call the online trainings that we have at this point. But this is a great one with some tangible tips on how to take action on what you are dreaming of doing. So if you have dreams that you haven't yet activated in your life, that one day I'm going to do this, recognize it'll always remain one day until you put a date on it. So put the 21st on your calendar, come to a free masterclass, and see what insights you may learn from there.
Yeah. And next Monday, I'm having Chris Tuff on, who is the Millennial Whisperer and Savior Asks. And one of the big things that he talks about is to help your team activate their dreams. So if you guys are thinking about creating a great company culture, one of the big things he talks about is actually helping them activate their dreams. So not only can you sign up, but of course you can also invite your team to this masterclass and help them as well. So I'm really excited about it. It's going to be great. And for many, many teams, you can definitely do some awesome stuff with that. All right. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Please feel free to ask any questions that you have. We will be checking those, and I can pass them along to Ashley. And of course, if you are looking to, create that company culture that your team brags about, please feel free to reach out to us for a free consultation as well. We would love to help you with our resources and tools. All right. Till next time, live creatively, friends. Bye. Baby.